That's okay. It's the last one of the year. You don't have to remember. Take it away.
This is To Wit, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I'm Kristi Campbell.
And I'm still Melinda Smith. Hi,
All
friend.
day. Hello. That was that moment where I shoved my earphone cord in a little bit more. Now I'm hearing you in both ears.
Oh, great.
Surprise!
People love to hear me in stereo.
I mean, yeah, that's how the technology should work.
It's funny. I think I forgot to tell you that when I saw Mike Gerhold at the World Tour, he was kind of razzing us a little. Shout out, Mike. Hi. Because he was like, the next episode, you had a whole episode talking about the cruise. And the next one, you're like, we're not going to talk about it. And then you talked about it for 15 minutes. I was like, yeah, we're pretty excited. I was like, you got to
I thought it was going to be about the microphones. That's funny, though, too.
So, friends of the podcast, this is the last one of 2018, as you know, because it's the 28th, and that's how
we're in that weird between Christmas and New Year's time where no one's really working, hopefully.
No. I'm confused about what day it is.
Yeah.
I'm tired and not tired.
I'm tired from not doing anything.
Yeah. I kind of motivated today for sure. This is my last vacation day, but I got up and motivated because I was feeling all sluggish again. I was like, I'm tired. And all I did was lay around all day yesterday and last Sunday. And I mean, we hosted for Christmas, but there's just been a lot of lounging. So I was like, that's it. Get up, work out, shower.
You know, I literally had no cause to talk to humans out loud yesterday.
Ooh, wait, were you working?
I mean, yeah, but I'm working from home.
Huh.
So
sure.
I Skyped. I talked to the dogs. But I texted. But I didn't have any verbal communication with humans. And it was great. It's fine. My roommate comes back today, so that'll be good. So I don't start talking too much to just the dogs, you know? Yeah. People were like, where did Kristi go?
So I think we did this last year because I feel like when I was writing these down that we did this last year, but who cares? Every year we can do a review.
Of what we did this year. I like it. It's this, when you told me I had homework, this is good homework. It's been a good introspective day.
And how did you associate, reacclimate, look at, let's try that again. When you were doing your top moments, how did you just do it from your brain? Did you look through photos? Did you look through old podcast episodes?
I looked through photos in my phone and realized how many things I screenshot and save.
That is stupid. Oh my God. Me too. I had a picture of a crooked Apple TV menu of half and 2 apps, but I don't even use them. I was like, why? What did I need that for? What was I trying to do?
There was probably a reason. What's scary is now that on the iPhone, now that when you take a screenshot and you send it, you can choose to delete it. That means how much worse could it have been? And yet you ever seen that meme about if your dog could see how many pictures you have of it sleeping, it would be really creepy. If you're I have an exponentially lot of photos of my dog.
Well, they're cute.
I mean, that's true. All they got to do is nap and they look cute. And snuggle.
I saw a meme or something that was kitty snoring, doggy snoring, spouse snoring. You're like, I will murder you in your sleep. I was like,
he was napping earlier and his tail was wagging and I was so happy.
He's like, I'm having the best dream ever.
I know. So you actually did good legit homework and looked at our stats.
I looked at our stats for
what's you got?
Drum roll. Oh, see? Doggy's got it.
Yeah, right? That was a dog drum roll.
The most downloaded episode in 2018 was You Could Be Somebody's Light with Selena Suarez.
Ooh.
It was close to 300. And I really liked it, the episode, because she had said, she was kind of a little nervous about it and being really kind of raw and out there with where she came from and what Pep Up Tech has meant to her. But I think that that's probably changed a lot. It was in April. So I think that since then she's talked about stuff a little bit more, but it was, the origins of Pep Up Tech and her passion. So I'm not surprised that people gravitated to it. Plus, I'm sure a lot of students were like, ooh, I love her. I want to hear more of her.
Mm-hmm. On a stage at Dreamforce.
Yes, indeed. So that was the most downloaded. See, now the least downloaded I feel like isn't fair because it's our last one, but I don't think people download us immediately. I think we are like, I'm in the car ride, or, okay, like Mike's like, I'm going to mow the lawn, like that. I think that is more accurate. So I probably could have done the least downloaded except that one, but it's kind of the same situation. It's either the one with Stephanie or the one right prior. So I'm not sure if that's accurate. Maybe we can revisit again in June, but I feel like those are more like a timing instead of like,
right.
That one
versus
was very
like
exciting.
Blame Stephanie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks a lot. This is one way to get new guests.
Right. Let's see here. So the most fun, what do you feel like was one of your most fun?
See, I stole your answer because just sitting with you in the living room and doing 2 at one house was really fun. And plus it was, just in general was a great weekend with witness success and getting to see some people and meet Josh and, just, and your child, I guess they're equivalently exciting. And hang out and just, that was the point, was partially was a way for us to stay in touch, right? Yeah. So it has special.
Yeah, I agree. I liked 2 at one house a lot. I really liked the podcast of podcasts too. I mean, again, it was kind of an undertaking, like, oh my God, there's so many, trying to coordinate, but being able to talk to people and see what they're putting out there. Because there's, what did I say? There's like 12. And I probably knew 6 well. Like other ones, maybe I'd heard their name, or I didn't know they existed, or I didn't know their shtick. So I thought that was kind of fun to see what everyone else is putting out there and chit-chatting with people and interviewing other podcasters. I tried to make that word different. I was like, podcastees. I was like, just say podcast, just what everyone says. Don't make it weird.
Doors.
Stop trying to make it weird.
I do really love that you came up with the most drunk as one of the...
I mean, everyone knows we have a glass of wine or 2 during the podcast. One we didn't, obviously we did not drink with Tony Profit, but that wasn't even this year. It was 2017. And there have been ones I think that neither of us have really felt like it, but like then there was the one on June 24th. And I know it's called the swearing one. And I know that I've said it before, but I have already edited out so much. And there was still so much swearing in it. Well, and I can't remember what you did before, but my sweetie was in town. He was flying a ton that summer. And he happened to be in town on whatever day we were flying. I was like, let's go downtown. And we walked around and we had like happy hour and drinks and appetizers. And then we came home to record. And I had a glass of wine with you. And as soon as I sat down, I was like, oh no. Oh boy. And I'm like on the floor in my bedroom, half hanging out the French doors because it's warm out. And it's just like, it's so bad. It's so funny, but it was like so bad to edit.
Now I'm curious to know what I was doing. I don't remember. I could come up with something. I mean, I was at some probably festive drinking occasion.
It was a Sunday.
Oh, maybe I was tailgating.
Oh, that's actually, I could be lying. That's the day that I pushed it out through Libsyn. So we probably recorded like anywhere like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, somewhere in there. It may have even been on the weekend because it was like, let's just do it. It'll be amazing. Let's just record. Let's just do it. Because I think I'd had wine and bourbon and like, I wanted to
mix it all up in there.
It was beautiful out. We went to this cool little area downtown where we got to like walk around and play games. And I was just having a grand old time.
Well, and then apparently that's a nice time to cuss like a sailor.
So bad. I mean, I cuss anyways.
Any day, really.
This is true.
Yeah.
I was trying to find other ones like most memorable or I know that the personal corner one and various throughout of us sharing, struggles in mental health and divorce and past lives or past in our lives. We're all kind of like, oh, wow. So I would say overall, I feel like this year has been a little more authentic, maybe. I hate to use that word casually when we're always pretty authentic, but I guess maybe a little more real or a little more raw, genuine. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm distracted because I'm thinking back because we recorded on Thursday the 21st. I don't have anything on my calendar, but it was the day before what would have been my wedding anniversary. So I assume I was in a lovely state of mind. So maybe that's all I needed.
Right? Like, that's dead.
Who knows?
We're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
That was really optimistic.
Well, yeah, you were allowed to have that.
Are there any other trends that you noticed in our stats?
I feel like, I don't feel like they're facts. This is not a feeling game. More episodes are downloaded when we have a guest. Okay. I don't know. Maybe people want to hear from others, or they're like, ooh, that person, or they get tired of just hearing us, but they come back for more.
We suck you in.
But yeah, I think that we'll do some more next year. I was looking it over, and it would be fun if we did like one a week instead of every other, but I don't want to make any kind of weird commitments. That's like a standing date. We could have a standing date, I guess. But we have so much life going on. I think we could only do it if we commit to like 45 minutes, which we're never good at either.
If we
BT dubs, everybody. I know that this is technically episode 50, and we do have we have two super amazing allies coming on the show, and we might even just hammer it out back to back because they're both pretty awesome. So just know that is coming. And I'm not saying who because I don't have commitments yet, and it's a cool surprise. So tell me,
what did you want to talk about our origin story?
Well, maybe. I think most people know now. I put that out there, and then as I thought about it, I was like, that's like 7 sentences. We knew each other. You helped me with the Girly Geek photo hunt, and you approached me and said, hey, I want to do a podcast. And I said, okay. So I guess unless I really expanded on it, I was like, well, I think I covered it in 4 sentences.
50 episodes. That's pretty cool.
Well, and we're 3 years in, right? We put out our first episode. Oh, let's talk about that. That could be fun. At least 2 solidly, but I want to say that we have been like technically at it for 3 years.
We could pretend that we do it every other week. So that's 50 times 2. It's 100 weeks.
We're like 2
There's a little over 2 years.
A handful. We published our first episode on September 5th in 2016. So, September to September. Yeah, it's about 2 plus.
We're on our way.
2 and some.
And we're not tired of each other. And it doesn't seem like people are tired of us. So we'll keep talking.
I still have fun. I really enjoy it, actually.
People seem to want the stickers still. Yes. So it is funny, though, because I do feel like sometimes some episodes just don't go as well, or some guests don't go the way you think it's going to, or some days. It's so funny. Yesterday when we were going to record, and I was like, I'm just not in it. And you were like, me.
Oh my God. I did not even want to do anything.
I'm just happy that, I think we do all right with all that, but that there's, we're still just feeling it out and having fun 2 years later.
Supposed to be fun. Like, it's not like we get paid for this.
Don't expect that anything is really going to change much.
At all. Like, no. Maybe more guests, maybe more moments. I'm going to stop trying to record live anywhere because let's get real. I know better. Yeah. Well, you and I have always said, as we'll continue to say, we're going to keep doing this until it's not fun anymore.
There you go.
But yeah, I'd like to bring on more guests. I think last year we got a little lackadaisical on like every other episode being a guest because we would be like, it's too hard. Let's just record real quick. So I don't know. Maybe we put something out there on Twitter, like, would you like to be a guest? Was there something that you would like to say, you know, a la Cloudforce Collective, and not necessarily like, hey, come on and have your own kind of your own show, your own platform, but hey, I really want to share this, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, we could even do, since we did the podcast, it might be fun to do a series of like Dreamin events, or, you know, give me your 8-minute elevator. No, 3-minute elevator pitch of why. Like,
it's like, how long is this elevator going?
It's a super slow elevator. Give an elevator pitch on, you know, what your event's about, or, you know, where it's at, why it makes it different, or what makes it awesome. It doesn't have to necessarily be different. Like Southeast Dreamin and Midwest Dreamin, you know, they don't have to be different to be awesome besides location. So I don't know, maybe that's something to throw out there. There's so many now though.
Mm-hmm. It's fun to do. And I think, you know, it is interesting. We're going to get into kind of our top moments of the year, and in looking through the pictures, and I think it's really interesting. Sometimes you get mired down in the day-to-day, and really the things that you remember long-term are typically not your day-to-day.
Well, and what's that saying too, that people remember how other people made them feel, or moments that are attached with feelings, than like, I had so many emails on a Thursday or whatnot.
Yeah, but I think it's just, sometimes it's just so easy to be like, ugh, this day, everything's going wrong. Like, you know, or just this last week when I sideswiped a parking garage wall and I slammed my finger in a door, and just like dumb stuff where I was just like,
2018 was like, hey, we're going to go out with a bang.
I want to stop adulting. Like, what is happening? There was a possum in my house. Like, it was just like a lot.
There was a possum in your house, alive.
But
beady little eyes.
I mean, it was like saddened. It was on its way to not alive, but it was not dead.
You know, but I want to say though, like, I am so grateful and fortunate just for, you know, where my life is at and the people in my life, and, you know, shit goes awry at times. But I saw a girl's post on, I don't know, Facebook. I don't even know why I'm still on it, but I am, and I probably will be. But not the point. I've known her. I knew her better about 17 years ago. We're much closer then. Now we're just kind of very like high level social media friends. But she had posted something like, you know, I'm looking forward to a year where people don't take from me and there aren't like selfish people in my life and da-da-da. And it was a post that I'm sure we've all thought or felt at some point in time in our lives. But I thought to myself, who are you surrounding yourself with? Like, we are in our 40s. Stop it. Like, if there are people taking from you and making you feel less, freaking get rid of them. And I thought about it and I was like, man, I have had that. Like, do not think that I have shied away or I have managed to come out unscathed with probably being shitty to people and people being shitty to me. But I'd like to say that I am in a place now where I just don't have that. I don't have that friend where that's kind of a friend of me, or a group that there's a couple that you're like, that person really does not like me, or you feel like someone is an energy sucker. And I thought, wow, it took a while. Like, there was a good handful of years with a couple females I can think of that it was a struggle. But I thought to myself, like, I'm not close enough to her now to reach out and say, get rid of them. Plus, I don't really know her deal. Like, what if one of them was like her kid? Get rid of them. Like, that's not how it works. Like,
well, and I think too, a lot of it is situational, right? Like, now I'm sitting here thinking about, like, do I have people who kind of suck, but like, I do feel like for me, that still translates to dating a little bit, and that's a whole new
that's
world.
True. And
right?
She is single, so that is probably a thing for sure.
Yeah, so like, there are certain people that I've held on to because I wanted to like them, or
you like the way they like you.
Yeah, or even just situationally, like, we had a moment, or whatever, and like the rest of it is dumb, but I still try and hold on to that part of it.
I 100% get that.
So I do feel like I'm, so we had kind of talked about that. My goal for the year, I'm sure I've talked about, my goal for the year was to not should on myself and to try and get back to or to a place of being comfortable with myself as I am. And that sounds silly because I think, number one, I say should on yourself because, especially while I was married, but in just my late 20s, right, too, I think in general that I should be doing better at X. I should be able to do these things that other people can do. I shouldn't have done this, right? Like those kinds of things. Whereas, like I say, trying to get to a place where in the scheme of things, like those things don't really matter as much and you're doing the best you can, and just not comparing yourself to other people. So I've really been trying to work on that. And I think I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. I think I'm in a pretty good place. And I think that's part of it too, is right. Like I should kick this person out of my life. And it's like, yeah, but I mean,
right.
You live and you learn, right? I've obviously realized I can't take parts from 3 different men and Frankenstein them into the person that I'm looking for.
Oh my God, I remember saying that in the past. Totally.
But I think sometimes it can take a while to figure out whether the parts that you can get or have from a person, like it sounds not cost benefit, right? But like, what is does the good outweigh the bad, right? You're not going to find people that have no bad. Even your good friends are going to be shitty sometimes.
Very true.
So anyway, I don't know. I'm just down a weird path with that. But I think I can see, yes, as an adult, I think we put up with some less crap than we used to. But I think situationally, there's still, you want to give new people a chance to not suck.
And I do love making new friends. There's always that fun high and thrill of sharing stories and what do we have in common. And I feel like I don't care, if you're courting a friend or like a lover, it's still courting. Like you think about some of your early friendships, there's a lot of gift giving and there's a lot of like wooing. And I always love that. But you're right. You want to give everyone that chance to like, don't suck, be a new friend. But yeah, anyway, I mean, it was a weird little digress, but I thought about it and I was like, it took a while. Like I had a lot of friends in my life that like to see me fail. And I had a lot of friends that the love wasn't as mutual as I thought. Like I loved them for flaws and all, and their love was conditional. And I didn't really realize it till later, and it was super hurtful. But now I'm like, wow, I really feel like I really don't have that. You do have different friends for different things. I could go to this friend who needs to be real with me. I go to this friend that was like, all I need is a knife and an exit strategy. Who are we killing today? I have the other friend that's like, great, I'm coming over with wine. But anyways, so that was my little digression on that. But so yes, I am happy that we're in a good place overall with friends. Okay, let's talk highlights, top moments. Casey.
I like that you put top moment as the prompt and neither of us put one moment, which is fine.
Oh yeah, because I was going to put one and then it was like, and random highlights.
Well, and then it was like, well, and then this, and then I'm looking through my pictures and I was like, oh yeah.
All right, if you have to pick one and then we can go into the rest. What was the highlight?
The being on the Culloden battlefield in Scotland, outside Inverness. I just getting there and being there. I was traveling by myself after London's calling. So I was like, I topped up my friend cup and then got on the train and was just exploring by myself. And I found the Campbell family like mass burial site. And just in the year that I'm going back to being at Campbell, and it was just really pretty, really introspective. I think just to be walking around and thinking about how things have changed since, this, like, they had this really cool room that was 4 screens around you, and it's reenacting pieces of the battle. and you're like standing in the middle, and I was literally the only one in there. So it's this 360-degree view, but it's just really interesting in that, and I know I talked about this when I got back, but people like missed the battle because they were like off on errands, right? And like just the way that like the land, yeah, right? Man, we needed donuts. The way the land is, like this side was slower than that side, and so the way that it impacted the number of troops and the result, I don't know. I actually sent myself a postcard from Scotland. I sent them to other people too, but I sent one specifically to myself to be like, remember how you felt here. So
that's really cool.
I do.
I loved Scotland.
Yeah.
My highlight is travel as well. Getting to Spain. It's been like what, 6 years or more that I traveled internationally. So like kind of reconnecting with how important that is to me. I got to go with Josh. Like we haven't had time away since our honeymoon. And then of course I got to like roll in a Salesforce event. Like the whole reason I went out there was to speak at Dream LA and then turned it into a trip. So it was like perfect, like all of my favorite things. And yes, my kiddo is one of my favorite things, but I'd not taken a 6-year-old to Spain. So I'm just going to put that out there. That does not sound like fun. So yeah, that was definitely a highlight. The highlight.
Yeah, I think, other travel, like, then I was like, well, my top moment, what if I say it as, like, it's Scottish things? Because then I also really enjoyed going to the Highland Games here in Charlotte, and I joined the Clan Campbell Society. But then I was like, but what about this, right? So, but a lot of it is travel. Like I say, I think it's interesting. And part of it is just moments, right? I had a friend come for a staycation here, which is also memorable, but so it's not necessarily the destination all the time, but I'm fortunate that I was able to go to a few different Dreamins, like you say, and kind of turn them into trips and really be with some people that I thoroughly enjoy that help me with my goal of feeling better about myself and who I am. So. And wine.
Top highlight, wine.
Scrolling through the photos, it's, and those trips and those moments, there's sometimes wine involved.
I was very dedicated to rosé this last year. I still am. I'm still purchasing it. I was like, I'm not giving up. I don't care if it's cold out. I do what I want.
I had a really great rosé like last week.
They're fantastic, and I still love them.
And now you're going to ask me the name of it, and I can't think of it.
I didn't expect that of you. Let's see what else. So my campfire session was rather life-changing because now I'm like opening the door to talking about those things I don't talk about anymore, or well, I hadn't. So that was a kind of transformative. I got to do rainbow hair, which is something I wanted to do for a very long time. So I'm glad I actually got to do it. It did damage the F out of my hair. I don't know what it was about the combo of all the colors, because I've done blue with like blue tips and blonde, but for whatever reason, the rainbow just made it kind of a hot mess for a little bit, but who cares? Onward and upward. I did that 80-day obsession, which I was thinking about today. I mean, I've done programs before, but like this one was hard. I mean, this was 6 days a week, an hour with time nutrition, and I freaking did it. The only day I didn't, I think, commit to my workout or whatever is at like the day after the colonoscopy, because I didn't even know my own name for like, I slept on the couch on and off for like 6 hours. But yeah, I'm like, it was hard. I don't 100% know I would do it again, at least not with the time nutrition part. It's a little all consuming.
Yeah.
And if my sole job was fitness, maybe, but like I got other shit to do. You know what I mean?
I went to freaking Alaska.
So beautiful from what I hear.
It was. I just the way it all worked out. Like my brother wanted to go, my parents, my aunt and uncle were going, and I was like, sure, I'll go. And just, it wasn't even on, I mean, it's been on my list of mental things to do, but it just all worked out, which is really great. And the timing ended up working out for launching the app for work, which I think also is a big piece of my year, right? It's like, not that, the new phases are cool, but like we made a thing.
It's out there. People are using it.
Like in the app store. Yeah.
Like I made that.
So, yeah. So I think those are my kind of highlights. I'm not as much Salesforce-y. I don't know that I feel like, although I just said that I went to different Dreamin' events, and I did speak at some. I don't know. I don't feel like I changed the world of Salesforce as much this year, I guess. But consistently went to user group meetings. I'm like the designated picture tweeter person. Otherwise, I know I did go speak at some Dreaming events and I learned some cool Salesforce things. But I feel pretty consistent in that. I don't feel like I did any like super newly different, noteworthy things that are Salesforce-y this year. Didn't speak at Dreamforce. How about you? Did you have some Salesforce-y highlights?
Yeah, I mean, tro-leading, we just kind of rounded out a year, so that's been kind of fun. And the Appcookbook was a lot of fun. That was actually February. So that was fun to do and talk about like the two, or did I do one? It was just the one recipe. And then record that. And then I got asked to do that at Dreamforce. I will say, and I think I've said this out loud before, I had 4 speaking sessions at Dreamforce this year. So that's too much. I won't ever do that again. So it was a lot. A lot. Like it was just too much preparation. Though I got a lot out of it. But yeah, the Appcookbook was fun. It was fun because they asked me, and it wasn't like a submission type thing. So yeah, it was fun.
What do you feel like were maybe like a not so fun moment, since you made me pick a low
I know
moment?
I did. So I know I said it earlier. I will say, even looking through photos too, like there wasn't a lot of like, ugh. I mean, Josh traveled a lot, so that was an adjustment. It was just, at times hard because he was gone so much. But there, being a mom, I would say, if I have to think about the one time, it was around spring. Things were just particularly hard with my kiddo, and I think I cried like 10 days in a row. It was like this is sucking the life out of me. I have no happiness. I'm dead inside. But we got through it. It was a growth spurt. It was like a gap in emotional and intelligence that happens. And I'm really not sure what her title is, a counselor or something that kind of helped me. She got to know Olive, and she kind of helped me understand her a little bit more and what methods work with her. And Olive is just not your run of the mill kiddo, and just headstrong and smart. And she's already correcting me on things. Like I'll be like, yeah, it's like 250. It's actually 251. Okay. Okay. So, but I think that's the hardest. And I mean, I'm sure every mom can be like, being a mom's the hardest and the best too, but that sucked, man. Josh being on a lot sucked too, but that one was like,
well, and the combination of the two things together a little bit.
Yeah. And I felt like, if for any Handmaid's Tale fans out there, the whole, like a couple episodes where June was like, I can't even remember now what got her to that point, but she was just so beat down that she was just like, everything's fine. Fine weather we're having. That's just how I felt at that time. Just like, I'm just dead inside. Fine weather we're having today. But yeah, I would say that's probably the low moment.
Under his eye.
Blessed be the fruit.
There you go.
I love you.
I feel like it's strange because certain things, looking back in pictures on my phone, do feel so long ago. Like, that's so trite, but like just certain, I think, a few weeks ago I talked about, I met my ex-husband's new girlfriend and I was fine. And, there were certainly, right? Yes. There were certainly times in the summer that I was not fine. So, not in any, I think just in general of the, he's made certain changes in his life, and it's like, why couldn't you have done that with me? And totally. Just certain moments, but never that like, what did we do? We should be back together kind of sad. If anything, just like lonely in general, which happens. I did get a roommate Labor Day, so that's been helpful for in the winter, when you don't feel like talking to humans sometimes. But there's someone at home to share wine with and, chat. So that's been good.
Yeah.
But I think just in general, like I say, I do feel like I'm better about who I am and where I'm at. And so now we go into another year.
I know. All right, I'm going to throw this curveball at you because I've been thinking about it a little bit, because one of my favorite podcasts, they have a thing that they either one says the same thing kind of often. And I wonder if our listeners have picked up on what I notice on things that we say a lot, like if we had a t-shirt with our face on it, what our podcast saying would be. I know I didn't prep you for this, but if you had to guess, what would be the thing that you're like, oh, Melinda says that all the time, 5 times on an episode, and I say blah, blah, blah.
Ooh. Of course, now that you said it, I'm not going to be able to think of anything.
So if I had to pick.
But you edit too, so you listen to it twice.
Oh, that's true. This is true. But you often say, I find it interesting.
Ooh, okay.
It's interesting that. And mine, I would think, and we probably have listeners that disagree, I am always like, totally, totally. I feel like I say that all the time. Totally.
In some kind.
Totally. Yeah. So I feel like if we had like a shirt with our faces on it, under our faces would be, I find it interesting. And I'd be like, totally.
That's great.
That makes me laugh. I'd be interested if people tweet back or message us with like, no, you don't say totally. You say, I don't know, shit all the time. Or whatever.
Well, yeah. Assuming the cuss words are actually
swear words.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I do feel like sometimes I start getting, like, I'm not even looking at the screen at you. I'm looking around the room, like I'm getting really introspective-y. And so I could see being like, well, it's interesting because...
I love it. I mean, the first time I noticed it, I never brought it up because I love it. And I was like, I don't want you to ever augment it. But now I was like, well, we'll just put it out there. Yeah, sure. I'm not going to ever change. Totally is my jam.
Totally.
Okay, so then, what are we going to do? Like, we're creeping up on another year. Do you have like some goals that way? And we'll write them down this time. So like we can come back this time next year.
Yeah. So part of what I'm learning about inattentive ADHD is that I am not good if I have too many things.
I can goals?
Or just a list of things to do. Because then I look at it and then I do none of them. I find it interesting. No. So
I've ruined us.
I know. So I actually met with my therapist recently, and I was talking about that, right? That I feel like, again, with that kind of comparison against other people, like other people can set goals and achieve, and so we were talking about the shift from kind of therapy out of therapy, which I've mentioned that like I didn't see her for like 2 months, which feels like monumental considering where I was this time last year, but that we talked about shifting more into like ADD kind of life coaching and like skill building kind of stuff. And so then we were talking about finances, and I was just, I'm so frustrated with myself of certain, like, I make money, I can pay my bills. Why am I getting a letter about like turning off my electricity because I didn't set up my auto pay because I want blah, 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 blah. I put like 4 steps in the way of the thing. And so she's, so we talked about like a weekly money check-in, like a financial meeting with myself for like 30 minutes a week. And like, no, I'm not going to catch up on everything in the first week. Right. But, just getting into that habit. And I was like, yeah, but then like, what about my house? What about my blah, blah, blah? Wait, what about blah, blah, blah? And she's like, if you, by the end of this Q1, right at the end of the quarter, if you've got a good money habit together, that's successful. Like that's, everything else is gravy. I mean, I'm translating, right? But like, yes, I can do other things, but I can't beat myself up about the things I'm not doing.
No, well, and that's like you said, it's along the lines of like not shitting on yourself too.
Yeah, like I would like to settle into my house more in terms of cleaning things and finding a home for everything and decluttering and all the things I pin about, doing such things and, actually doing some of them. But really that's kind of gravy, right? Like, so if it makes me feel better to be craftier or to be homier or to eat at homier or whatever, right? Obviously the financial piece is going to have implications to that. If I start budgeting and I realize how much I spend out eating out, then maybe I'll change other behaviors. But
maybe
really
you
the
do
goal,
like a meal service. So then you're not actually having to think and cook, but you're kind of staying in.
Sure. Right. So maybe there's other related things that will come out of it, but the goal is really getting a consistent financial habit, which then will evolve into, all the things Matt Pertuzzi would like me to do, like figuring out all my 401ks and make sure I'm optimizing my contributions for the year and all that stuff once I, get all my bills consistent and, get a plan to pay down my debt and that kind of stuff. So, and then, once we get there, then I can consider what's important for Q2. And, I know this is me rambling a lot, but one thing that's really interesting actually in the YNAB system that I use for budgeting, you need a budget, that I've talked about before, is they have this concept of a wish farm. And basically, there's always going to be things that you want. And so you basically create a grouping of categories for the larger things that you want to do. And then you pick you kind of t-shirt size them a little bit, but then you pick some priorities and you put money towards those, or you don't, right? So I think that'll be really helpful too, because a lot of the things I do or tell myself that I should do on the list are things that require spending money, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, I could, like, I've been saying for years that I would like to get my teeth professionally whitened, for example. But number one, I should probably get Invisalign to just get them back right into the right place. They've just shifted since I had braces a little bit. Number two, I have veneers on my front teeth. So there'll be a period of time where I will have yellow front teeth and whitening rest of my teeth. And then I'll have to pay to get my veneers replaced because it's cosmetic. Right? So already there's like 4 steps there. No.
Huh.
It's like, yeah, it's like paint, right? So
is it? I have one.
On the surface of your teeth.
Is it?
Yeah, so that's what's interesting is like that. And now once you have veneers, you'll always have veneers. Like basically you mess up the front of your tooth to
they
attach
file
the
it down to
veneer
this
to it.
little teeny tiny nubbin.
Yes. Totally, and then they put like fake tooth on it. So yeah. So again, that's like 4 steps that require planning and time and money. And therefore I haven't done it, but I've been saying I want to do it for so long. So I really think it'll be interesting to see with things like that, like put it in the wish farm and then like, no, I'm not doing it because this has been more of a priority to me. Totally. And a lot of the sources of those things are financial. So it's not just about time.
Well, and how long, just as a note on teeth, because I have a lot of money in my mouth, do you actually know that? Like maybe step 1 is going to your dentist and being like, hey, these are the steps I want to take. And maybe he's like, oh yeah, well, I have this new thing now that came out this year that you can bleach veneers. We can do that right now. Then you can work on Invisalign later. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's actually how the Invisalign step became a step because I talked to the dentist about it. And so he was like, yeah, get him, because again, ideally I'd like to do it with a few treatments over like a time when I'm not traveling as much. So I don't, go to Dreamforce with like yellow front teeth and white other teeth, like buck teeth.
Yeah, no, I get
so, but again, like between that and some repairs I want to do to my house and buying a grill, right? Buying just new things that I quote unquote need or think that I want. And then I feel bad that I'm not doing, but really I'm just not prioritizing them.
Yeah.
So somehow, like, if I can get them into a wish farm, that's different than like a to-do list, right? And I think that'll help me kind of feel better about my priorities, right? Like, it's not that I'm not doing it.
Because it's not like you're not doing it. You and I just said the same thing. It's not like you're not doing it. It's just not a priority right now. Or, I want to do that thing, but that costs like $1,000. Okay, I'm going to put that down. But then it stays on the list, and it doesn't need to be on the list. It should go in the farm. Like I use OmniFocus with Arcus now, and that goes into like a long-term goal or a long-term, situation. Like it's there, but like that's not, get out of my to-do list.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to do that right now.
Well, and I think it also kind of helps with, I think we've talked about, that's what I say a lot. I think we've talked about, because I forget what we've talked about, which is why I need to go back and listen to more past episodes. But the thing that I take pictures of things in stores, or like went shopping online to see, like that to try and defer if I still quote unquote need them. Like I think part of that would help too. Like I'd really like to get a chimenea outside and sit outside and be able to have a fire. And again, not that it's that hugely expensive, but I also haven't done it. So if, I'm budgeting and I have an extra $100 to put towards something, and that's in the list, then I can decide to do it. Then the money will be there and I'm more likely to go do the thing. Right. So yeah.
I set up a high yield savings that's away from my bank account per Matt Bertuzzi. Better interest, and even though I couldn't easily make a transfer between the two, which unfortunately I found out recently, it's away from my accounts.
Yes.
Because I do that thing where I put in, I'm like, oh, I've got an extra $1,000. I put it in there and then we overspend or I need it for something. So it's not really savings. It's more like a third checking account. So the savings needs to be like its own thing where I'm not touching it. That is for like vacation or I get fired.
It does take a certain amount of discipline, I think. So it's funny because with YNAB, they kind of try to get you away from doing that because you should be relying on the budget category balances versus your whole account balance when making decisions. But part of what, like I said, I get in my own way about is I'm like, ooh, I should find a credit card with good rewards and then auto pay my bills onto that, so that then I'm getting money for doing nothing, except then I've
been in that circle.
Then there's decisions to make, right? What's the right high yield savings account? And then I do nothing. So that was why it was like, iterate on it, right? Like this week, pay your overdue freaking bills, which again, I know sounds so stupid, but like you have the money, pay your bills and set up some kind of auto pay. And then maybe in February, when I'm in a better place, then my half an hour is spent researching a good credit card, and then I can update things.
I like that.
But like,
I like the small chunk goals.
Yeah. So it's really one large thing, right? Getting the financial habit in place. And it's funny because I immediately start thinking of like, ooh, if I do, what day of the week should I do it on? And then like, can I call it something fun like Money Monday? I think that's what I'm going with.
I like it.
So, yeah.
Perfect.
I feel like you are more adulty in some ways and can handle multiple goals for the next year.
I don't, it's funny. I haven't actually put any thought into it really. I mean, I want to get the community cert and the nonprofit cert, but I don't know if that's a goal as much as it's expected. Like I just will, like the nonprofit cert will be a goal for Arcus next year in general, since we do so much nonprofit work. And I just want the community cloud cert because we do a lot of communities and, it'd be helpful to have that. Usually I have a fitness goal, and like I told you, before we started recording, I don't have one. I don't want to run a marathon. I'm not interested in that. I don't want to do like a CrossFit challenge. I've been doing the Beachbody stuff solidly for about a year. So I don't know, maybe I just commit to like 49 weeks of fitness, giving myself 3 weeks in the year where you just kind of bugger off. Like I didn't do anything the week of Thanksgiving. I couldn't find anything close to the house we were renting, and the house was so full of people. I didn't really know where I would go with my videos in the middle, like at 7 a.m.
Right.
Well, I didn't do much this week either.
What counts within a week? Like one day within a week is enough for you, or like?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right, 49 weeks of fitness. Does that mean?
Yeah, 2 to 5 days, let's say. Okay. The thing is, like, it's really hard for me to make that arbitrary goal because, for one, it's not a solid like plan. Like, I'm going to do 80-day obsession again or whatever. And it's usually part of my world. And that's the thing I beat myself up on if I wait too long or I don't try hard enough or I take a week off. So, maybe instead of setting that goal, I set the goal of, stay committed to fitness. And if you, have a blip, like just chill out. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I think I need to put some more thought into the goals. We want to plan more international travel since, obviously we went to Spain and we're like, oh my God, we love this. So next year we probably won't do that except for our cruise. I mean, I know that kind of counts.
The beautiful island of Roatan.
Beautiful island of Roatan. But in 2020, we're going to go to Ireland. My mom wants to go. So the family's going to go. But I'd also like to get in a yoga retreat with my mom. And my sister-in-law just did one. And my girlfriend's done one in like Mexico, like an all-inclusive, and just like meditate and yoga all day. And but I don't know.
Oh, just kidding.
I mean, like, let's get real. I don't want a yoga retreat that's dry. No, I'm not looking to spend a week like drunken yoga-ing, but I would love to like get up, meditate, yoga, go for a nature hike, and come back and have a glass of wine with dinner. Like, I mean, that's my jam. But like a goal. Yeah, I'd like to pay off or pay down the credit card. It's not a terribly high balance. That it's only one, but it still causes me angst, especially because it's been used a lot more lately. I don't know. I might have to circle back. To circle back, put a pin in it. Maybe we could, all the cliche office sayings. I'm going to read a circle around that. Talk about it later. I don't have a good one yet.
Okay.
I like yours. Yours is solid. It's actionable. It's time frame equivalent, as I've learned with my GTD methodology.
That's right.
Drinking the green Kool-Aid. Thank you, Akis. I don't know. Maybe that's the goal, is just to, just be better at this get things done methodology. It really works for Jason and a bunch of the other team members, but it's so in line with how I try or do lead my life that, maybe I make that a little bit more of a priority. And
for your personal life.
Yeah, in general, like the like you said, those running to-do lists they're just not effective with no action, no time frame. Especially the long-term ones, because it'll be like, don't forget to balance, go to the store, make better life decisions. Like what? Like that is not, you can't just put that on a to-do list. Yeah, right? Be more financially stable.
I like that you're like yelling at yourself about it too. It's not even I
get the deep voice.
Right? Think better thoughts about yourself.
No, I want to speak in the angry, the angry voice. So
stop being crappy.
Be better. Be best. I'm not doing a super fave. My super fave is you, and this year and this podcast. You're my super fave.
I am, and the only reason is because it's sort of in line with what we're talking about. So I think I took a picture of it so I'd remember, but then now I'm looking back at all my pictures, so I have to scroll to today. It is an Instagram called The Happy Broadcast. And somebody posted an article about it, and it's basically, I love that I just scrolled on the screenshot that I took because I'm a smart human. So somebody posted the happy things that happened in 2018, and it's actually this Instagram. And so he does like a little image of a story about that like pandas came off the endangered list this year, and certain things like that. So good, optimistic things. I tried a new thing today. I'm doing my first Prime Now order because I wasn't going to let not having stain spray get in the way of not finishing my laundry. And I think it's here right now, so I have to go answer the door.
I still stick with my that is my non super fave. Non, you're not a non. This podcast is my super fave, but I will go and check out that account because I like uplifting happy things.
Yeah, it's like just pandas. A nice, pandas and tigers, and somebody made 6-packs rings that turtles can eat.
Oh,
instead of choke on, things like that. So that was a good, intentional optimism. Not everything. Sometimes it's easy to think everything is awful, but
I like intentional optimism. Like I choose to be happy because it's healthy for me.
Yeah. I also read something actually that there's a gym in somewhere that they're not showing network news.
Oh, thank
God. You can't watch the news because it was something about like health.
Yeah, causing anxiety. And then they put the closed captioning on, or you can tune into it. And it's anxiety ridden.
Yeah.
So our friends out there, please feel free to email us or DM us about being on the show, should you want to. Topics that you'd like to discuss, because we'll do it. Clearly, we have no gray areas or boundaries that we won't talk about. And Happy New Year, everybody.
See you next year. Stay witty.